Welcome everybody to the stream. Let's go. Let's get started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Hello everyone. How are you doing? Hello to Vanders. I said the name right, didn't I? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I think you're the only person in here right now, but that's fine. If you're in here, can I get a hell yeah? We got some stuff to go over today. Doctor Who's been making its first appearance since Comic Con for the new era. We have what do you call it? Like a bunch of other little bits and bobs to go over, a bunch of little interviews, all that sort of good stuff. So let's get on it. Let's get on it. Hope you're all doing well. I also want to talk about a few things. There's a few articles I'd like to go over. So yeah, we got plenty, but make sure that you've liked the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new, and yeah, let's just get into it. How's everybody been, first of all? How's everybody been? How's everyone's day been? Everyone's weeks, I guess. What day are we on now? Friday? We'll know the overnight figures in a few days. So no, I'll get to the whole ponds thing in a minute. We'll get to that. What's up, Darius? Always enjoy the notification when you go live. Yeah, no, yeah, thank you. Oh no, you've got COVID. Oh, I hope you get better soon, man. Exponentially better now that we have pondies. Hold your breath on that. When I say the ponds reunite, I mean it in the literal sense. So don't get too hyped, but right, okay. I want to talk about the Telegraph article, right? Actually, that's a good thing. I want to talk about that. So we don't know, like obviously that article, they've posted it again. They've reposted it on their Twitter and stuff. Like even just a couple hours ago. So they seem pretty adamant about it. And a couple of other news resources have picked up on it. Mainly, I think Gizmodo, Den of Geek, a couple others have been reiterating it about the place. So to be fair to me, you know, you'd assume an actual reputable newspaper had done their research. We haven't had it definitively proven that it's false. For all we know, there could be some truth to it. But obviously, for right now, it is just basically like speculative on their end, but I still thought it was an interesting report. I didn't even say in the video, to be fair, like, you know, if this turns out to be true. So, I have heard rumors from some pretty well-connected people that it, you know, that Doctor Who might still get, you know, a significant budget increase as a result of the Disney Plus deal. So it's, even if it's not accurate in the exact ways that the Telegraph puts across, I still think we will see a budget increase, at least from what I'm hearing anyway. I mean, it kind of makes sense because they would have still had to pay out for the license to stream it. So yeah, give us the news, Big T. I will. I will. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that briefly because yeah, I know that that was a whole thing. Everything is happening in London Comic Con, but I'm going to Birmingham one where there's nothing happening. Yeah, so the London one had a bunch of stuff going on. So Cadbury's or Nestle. I mean, it depends on the chocolate because Nestle do loads of things. But yes, let's get into some of the news, shall we? Because someone's brought up my first topic. I wanted to say a very happy birthday to my personal favourite Doctor, Matt Smith. He is 40 today, which I find incredible. The man has aged exceedingly well. So happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to Matt Smith. Can we get some happy birthdays in chat for Matt Smith? That'd be greatly appreciated. I'm sure he'll love that. He won't see them, but you know the spirit is there. So yeah, it says I am and always will be the optimist, the hoper of far-flung hopes, and the dreamer of impossible dreams. Wishing a very happy birthday to the 11th Dr. Matt Smith. And this is our first non-RTD2 era post, somewhat significantly, to use the new branding. The Whittaker era posts still seem to be using the Whittaker era logo and insignias and fonts and all that sort of stuff, but for non-Whittaker era related posts, it all seems to be under this new blue galaxy branding with that classic logo at the top, which I love. And then yeah, so on the topic of so I wanted to talk about this because I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about, and it's kind of the main point of the thumbnail, which is the Comic Con items basically. I can't wait for Darius to say it's news in time and spread all of the news to us. Yeah, that's what I do. That's me. Happy birthday, Matt Smith. Let's go. But yes, Next up, let's talk about what we sort of came for. So the TARDIS has landed at MCM Comic Con in London. Head on over to the Doctor Who stand to get your up close look at the costumes worn by 14th Doctor. So once again, it has been reiterated he is the 14th Doctor, and Donna Noble in the upcoming specials. So you can see there, I think it's the Forbidden Planet booth that has, it's still the Jodie box, and then the two costumes by its side. And I've said before, I think that the the new Tennant costume is probably his best one. It might be one of my favourite Doctor costumes already. I don't know. It's just sort of taken everything that worked about his original costume and made it like 10 times better, in my opinion. I really, really like it. I'll also say as well, you might be able to notice, this is our first time seeing the big diamond insignia outside of just official press releases and actually seeing it on billboards, on placards, on stuff like that. And it's really, really just exciting. And I think it really stands out. I think there's a sense of pride that emanates from that logo, which I think is really, really cool. The other reason I want to bring this up is because it kind of brings me onto a topic that I want to discuss. So, and I'm not the first person to make this connection, but I really do think that the recent promo for the new RTD2 era has really kind of put into perspective the previous era's approach, because for the longest time we were kind of told, oh, it's ridiculous for Doctor Who to get promoted, a month or so in advance. That's not how the BBC operates now. And in comparison, I mean, look at all these things that we've been having recently. We've had the new logo launched a mere few days ago. We've had Ncuti Gatwood doing press releases. We've had him going on talk shows. We've had again a Disney Plus press release thing, and we have this, the MCM Comic Con items, and we know for a fact that Doctor Who magazine is getting a huge load of details on the next era in the next edition of Doctor Who magazine. So obviously, I don't want to try and shaft or crap on the outgoing era too much, but I just think that it's really interesting that for the longest time we were kind of told, this, the way that the previous era had been marketed was the only way, and I think this kind of shows that, no, you could have done more. The diamond logo is iconic, not in my life. Yeah, I agree. I want to see it on merch now. I want a shirt with it on. People saying it looks like the Paw Patrol logo is so funny, man. I really don't see that connection at all. I know that some people have made that connection. It's not a connection I personally see. But yeah, I just want to kind of say, I think the marketing, we've already seen a huge difference. And I know some people are going to say that the marketing for the initial series for Whittaker's era was big, but I don't think it's anywhere near on this level already. What? We're over a year away and already we have, our first Comic-Con appearance. I just think, even if it's not the actors, just Doctor Who having a presence is kind of mad. Is that the real theories? It is, I'm afraid. There's been some people who actually went to the MCM Comic Con, and there was some people who investigated the outfit, and they discovered, I think, that Tennant wore odd socks. I don't know whether I can find it. I did see it at some point. Who MCM? Let me have a look. So yeah, you can just sort of see that, thanks to Dominic G. Martin for this close-up shot here. If it loads, if it decides to load, there we are. Yeah, you can see here, this is a close-up shot of the new costume. This is a close-up here. You can see actually this one has an odd button here in the middle, which is interesting. The 60th is ruined. No, I kid, of course. We actually have a closer look at that tie as well, which seems to be more patterned than it looked originally, which I find interesting. And then, yeah, there's the chest again. Someone did also manage to identify that, again, there's the TARDIS. I'll see if I can find it. I can't seem to find it. But, yeah, the Tennant costume is indeed at MCM Comic Con, and I think someone identified that it actually has odd socks, which I think is interesting. I love the new Tennant blue jacket over the waistcoat. I agree. Theories, what's your thoughts on the costume's tie actually being a bow tie? think it's pretty on the nose, TBH. What do you mean? I did see, I think it was, what was it, Pig and Tea Break came up with a cool theory that like this costume would be adaptable. So the theory was, if I remember correct, that basically this costume was devised by the toy maker, and depending on which Doctor face would wear it, it would adapt to basically a version of that costume, which is why it sort of appears on Tennant in the trailer. That was the theory I saw. That's a decent theory. That could be the case, or it could not be. But yeah, I just think that the marketing is already incredibly superior to what we've seen before. I think it's really nice. And I really like that we're just having all this stuff already. It's really exciting. The next thing I want to go over, obviously, I get this out of the way because, you know, because I wanted to talk about this. Both Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and Arthur Darvill have all reunited in, where was it? Was it Ecuador? For Matt Smith's birthday. This was shared originally on Karen Gillan's Instagram and Twitter page. It shows both Karen and Arthur there, and then there was a separate picture, I think from Safe Space, which showed that Matt Smith was there too. There's also a video of him at his birthday. So yeah, the Ponds have reunited. I don't think there's any major significance for the show itself, outside of it's just really nice to see them again. Some reason my Twitter is taking an age to load today, I don't know why. Maybe it's because Elon Musk took over. Yeah, so there you are. It's let me just... Yeah, there you go. You can see Galapagos Islands, Mounts International Group. Yeah, he's there along with Karen and Arthur. So it's nice to see that they're all still such good friends after all this time. Also recently, in terms of Matt and Karen. Oh no! In terms of Matt and Karen, we also know that it's your internet, bro. Damn it! Okay, hold on. 1 second. I'll quickly change over. Let me just. I'll make a quick change, technical change. Quick. All right, hold on. Can you guys still hear me or not? Chunks of his past are disappearing. No! Hold on. Right, now it's saying excellent condition. No, it's good now. Okay. I'm not going to change anything, but it keeps poopies. Nice. Yes. So yeah, there was... The Ponds have been reunited in the Galapagos Islands for Matt Smith's birthday. It's just really nice to see that they're friends. I don't think this will have, like, even after all this time. We also know that Matt actually went to Karen's wedding as well. I don't know whether this will have any major impact on the show or anything. It's just nice to see them all together again. Just as someone who really loves that era of the show, that's really nice. I can still hear you. No, we can't hear you. We got some John Luke in the chat. You do. Yeah, my internet is flashing, so maybe it is a bit dodgy, but it always goes off briefly, but yeah. Damn it. Right, am I back? I'm back. I'm back. It's okay. I'm being attacked. It always goes off. Famous last words. Is that the last thing you heard? God damn it. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. Okay. What I was going to talk about was we've had some new cool images of Paradoctor, specifically one from James Pardon, who is the main photographer guy for this era. We've had this lovely image of all of the companions together, front on, and Jodie as well. Jodie actually made the special decision to go in to see all the companions together on this set. So you've got William Russell there, which is incredible. Obviously Jodie, Bradley, John, Sophie, Gemma Redgrave, Amanda Gill, and then Bonnie Langford, Katie Manning. Katie Manning's looking off into the distance for some reason, and Janet Fielding. But yeah, it's really nice to see them all together. I'm assuming there's some sort of gifts here, maybe like a wrap party type situation, I'm not sure. But then we also have this absolutely lovely image of Peter Davison in costume as the Fifth Doctor. Apparently this is also to advertise that he's doing photo shoots at an upcoming con as well. But yeah, Peter Davison still looks really good in the costume to me. Like, it still really suits him even after all this time. So yeah, that's really cool. Hi everyone, hello! How are you? Still fits, even after all this time. Dodie said she wanted to be on set that day just to meet all the old guest cast. Yeah, exactly. Which I think is really nice. I think that's really nice. Do you think it should have, at the end of Power of the Doctor, David Tennant returns as the Doctor? Yeah, that would have been nice. I've seen some people pointing that out, and I don't disagree. It would have been nice to see the returns as the Doctor. Also, there's 150 of you in here. If you haven't liked already, feel free to do so. And if you are enjoying the content, feel free to subscribe if you are new. Let's get to 100 likes. Let's do it now. William Russell should now be a world record holder for the longest time between TV appearances playing the same character. I believe, aren't they going to attempt to get that record for him, I think? Darius, are you still going to upload during the time between now and the 60th anniversary? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there'll be plenty going on. I mean, Shooty will be filming, what, next month? So we'll have plenty to go over. Biggest Darius fan here. Hello, nice to meet you, Shadorf. I hope I am saying that correctly. But yes, I'll be up here plenty. I hope they do something for LFC Winter next month. That would be nice. I am actually going to that one. Now, Darius is retiring now. This is it. Retiring at 19. I wish. I wish. Maybe if any of you super chat, maybe I can. No. Although super chats are, as always, very much appreciated. But we have a couple other things to go over that I want to talk about. So we've had... So, just to clarify, did you guys still all hear the major news items that I had while I was live? Because I'm never quite sure, when it cuts out, what you guys heard and what you guys didn't. So I'm hoping you heard everything. When's the next PO box? I haven't really had anything recently, but when I get more stuff, that'll be when. Darius, if I see you, dude, can I get a pic as long as you don't charge? Oh yeah, of course. No, of course, yeah. It actually happened the other day. I was heading to the bay, and the guy helped me get on the train and was like, "Oh, I love your videos." I was like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, you guys heard everything. Okay, that's good. Just got in. What have I missed? Okay, so we celebrated Matt Smith's birthday. We went over the David Tennant Comic-Con costume, as well as all the other marketing bits, and how I was saying how basically the marketing has been huge already. We've had the talking about Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and Arthur Darvill reuniting for Matt Smith's birthday. And we've also talked about some new Centenary pictures, mainly ones of all the companions together, as well as Peter being back in costume once again. And then we also have this. So I want to talk about this because this is kind of a sequel to my part in the previous video, talking about Peter Capaldi and why he probably won't come back. So I'm going to play this clip here. This is, I think, at the same press launch for Devil's Hour, his new show, which I haven't seen yet. Is that out now? Because I probably will. They've got the new logo on a Redbubble shirt. Yeah, they probably do, but I would like an official one. But yeah, here's the clip of Peter Capaldi being asked again if he would come back for the 60th. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I think you should be able to.
I'm curious if, given the opportunity, you would love to step foot on that set with that family one more time, or maybe even a few more?
Not really, because I think it belongs to, I did my thing with it. And I think the more it goes on, the more doctors there are, it's harder to get a decent crack of the whip. So I'd rather just think of mine as still being out there, getting on with adventures, rather than turning up, occasionally, doing bits.
I'm curious.
Yeah. So that's another clip of Peter Capaldi basically saying he wouldn't want to come back for, any sort of 60th anniversary or anything like that. Now, I've seen a few people, saying he's doing the Andrew Garfield thing, and that he will come back. He's just lying about it. Honestly, that's not the vibe I get from this. I've just seen someone in chat there saying, "Peter, you're lying." It's not the vibe I get, to be honest. I just don't think he really wants to come back. Obviously, with the Andrew Garfield situation, you can never really. The problem with that is now that that's happened, no one ever trusts anything that celebrities say anymore. But just his reasonings seem consistent the entire time. Like he's always sort of said, not a big fan of multi-doctor stories. I kind of want to leave my bit as it is. I just don't really see it this time. I don't think Peter is lying this time. I'm going to be honest. I do think he just is happy with the bit that he did, and that's fine. Peter Capaldi won't come back because he's very based. I did see an article as well about actually let me see if I can find that. It was a Radio Times one, I think, while talking about so yeah. Let me find it. There's an article about Capaldi earlier. Let me see if I can find it. In relation to Devil's Hour, writer reveals why Capaldi asked for rewrites. I won't read the whole article because it's mostly about this new program, but I find it super interesting because obviously that makes you wonder how many sort of rewrites he asked for Doctor Who. Capaldi explained to himself to make sure Gideon felt like a human being, because obviously we know that Capaldi was a huge fan. You wonder, how much creative freedom was he allowed to exert upon the show. Obviously, it sort of varied from incarnation to incarnation. Tom Baker, had a massive say in a lot of the going-ons in his productions, particularly later on. Well, not with JNT, he kind of put a stop to that, but with sort of the Graham Williams years, he kind of exerted his authority over the show to a certain extent. And then with Capaldi, it's interesting to think. I just wanted to come back so you can remind me to subscribe to the Doctor YouTube channel. That would be great. Chris said never swim in the same river twice, but he's back for Big Finish. That is true, yeah, but I think Big Finish and TV appearances are two different things as well. Like that's another thing. I see a lot of people say like, oh, Jo Martin's coming back for Big Finish, so it's fine. She'll get her time, but like, it's not quite the same thing. As much as we like to view it as that, it's not really. It is a different thing. Peter Capaldi did do Lego Dimensions, but that was when he was the Doctor. So, and even then, that's not a multi-Doctor story. That's a video game where he meets Batman, which is cool. He hates the Mondas Cybermen had gloves. Does he? He said that. I didn't know he said that. Imagine Davison coming back for a proper act like Time Crash. I mean, I'm quite happy with what we got, to be honest. I'm at like a point where I know that a lot of people were wanting classic Doctors back in the modern show, and now that we've kind of got that, my desire for that is kind of placated. Obviously, I'd like to see more McGann, but quite frankly, I'm pretty happy with the note that they ended it on in Power. I liked that, even though Power is a bit of a mess, I liked that sort of 7 and Ace and 5 and Tegan, they kind of got their closure, with 5 talking about Adric and Ace and 7 reconciling over something they fell out over, presumably in the gap between Survival and the TV movie. So, yeah, I'm quite happy. I think that's why I won't be as bothered if like it is only Tennant who comes back. Have I watched Boat Saxon's new video? I did, yeah. And I very much enjoyed it. But yes, I'm not as bothered now about other Doctors. I mean, I'd like to see Smith, obviously, but Peter I just don't see, personally. He just doesn't seem very keen, and I think sometimes, I think we all read into it too much. He doesn't seem like he's lying here. He seems like he just doesn't really want to come back, and you know what? That's fair enough. If he is lying, I'm happy to... I'll eat my words, I'll happily eat my words. I'll happily say I was wrong. But as of right now, I'm not convinced in terms of Capaldi. Many people asked who Adric was. Yeah, that's the thing about Power of the Doctor, is that it's a fan episode. It's an episode that you're gonna get the most out of if you're a fan of all the material it's cribbing off. If you're not, you kind of lose a lot of the important context that you would need to get the most out of that story, I think. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's also this article for, I think this is in relation to the new documentary, Doctor Who Am I, which is the behind-the-scenes documentary about the production behind the Doctor Who TV movie. And it says, we spoke to Paul McGann ahead of the new documentary, Doctor Who Am I. So obviously I won't read the whole thing, but I think one of the most interesting things said here is after the TV movie failed to garner a full series order over Fox, for McGann it seemed that the show was finished for good. I remember thinking that Doctor Who is now finished and I'm probably partly responsible for it. Man, poor Paul. He jokes that once Russell T Davies revived the series, he waited by the phone for a call to action, but none came. It's funny to tell now, but at the time I really was like, it's me and Peter Cushing. We're in the naughty room. No one's going to mention our names when they talk about Doctor Who. Man, poor Paul. You know, I've always felt bad for him because, like, I'm in the camp that kind of has a soft spot for the movie personally. Doctor Who Am I is amazing. I would recommend. Is it out now? Because I thought did they do a cinema release? When did you get 16.5k? I thought you were on 16.3. Yeah, it's grown a lot since the episodes came out. Which thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed and you do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe if you're new. We're only 19 subscribers away from 16,600, I think. So yeah, we're doing really well. It is in cinemas. I saw it last night. Is it still in right now? How long is it in for? Because I might have to go and watch that. Theory, all of the collection trailers, most of them led to this, except not really. Oh, that's another thing. Funny you mentioned the collection trailers, because we did actually a few days ago have some clarification from Russell T Davies about the future of the collection Blu-rays, because a lot of people were concerned over the logo changing, because obviously we got a new logo now, which I think is really nice, but obviously people were like, I don't want it to look different on the collection box sets. And according to Russell T Davies on Instagram, if I can find the tweet, someone asked, the Post Monument, after absolutely incredible. However, one question, what happens about the collection box sets? And Russell T Davies confirmed the collection logo won't change. So yeah, the logo won't change on the collection box sets, but I assume, you know, any merchandise going forward, much like with the Whittaker one, will have the new logo. And to be fair, I think it fits as more of a legacy logo for legacy content than the Whittaker one did, so. Because obviously it is basically just a modernized classic logo. Not many showings, only in certain cinemas. You have to look quite hard to find one. I think I saw one earlier on Twitter who has a ticket to see it in early November. Okay, I will have a look. I will have a look. As far as I'm concerned, Paul McGann is welcome to guest appear. He was the Doctor. Exactly. I just find it quite sad that for a moment he thought he was the one who killed it, and you know, he was like in the naughty corner of Doctors. It's like, that's really sad, you know, because that would suck to be in that position. But no, we love Paul. I met Paul. He's a lovely guy. And I gotta say, I think the lines of him and Sylvester in the what do you call it, the end space was like a really, really cool little moment. Did you see Disney Plus conference? Actually, yes. And is it going to be a joint production? The official press statement says no, but there have been some speculations from the Telegraph and stuff saying that it is. But yes, actually, I did actually have a link to the entire press release. So, do you want to have a watch through that and see what it says? Because I actually did have a link to it. And here it is. The Doctor Who press conference with Ncuti Gatwa. We have the full, it's 10 minutes long. So if you guys want to listen to that, we'll stop obviously up in part way through and talk about it. But yeah, we can talk about that for a bit if you want. And there's also another item I want to go over after that. So yes, let's get into that, shall we? Why not? Sounds fun. So yeah, this is the conference with Ncuti Gatwa.
And I really want to just say thank you on behalf of our amazing colleagues.
I love that logo, by the way. Look at the vortex.
From the BBC.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the new title sequence looks like, man.
For being here with us today. So welcome. Really excited about today. So as you know, we made our announcement that Disney Branded Television and the BBC have come together to bring the next Doctor Who to Disney Plus and to a new generation of fans all over the world. Doctor Who is so great for our brand because it's filled with so many qualities that are so near and dear to our heart. Qualities like imagination, wonder, and adventure. And Doctor Who has really lived with fans around the world, and some of which have grown up with them, including myself. I remember a time around 10, 11, where I watched Doctor Who, and I got excited about the adventures that the Doctor would go on. I wanted to be in the TARDIS with the Doctor.
So yeah, they're really talking up Doctor Who at this press release. It makes sense because it's coming to Disney Plus, but it's just really nice to see it having this big sort of push, you know, in America in particular, because from what I understand, you know, after the Netflix deal fell through and it went over to HBO Max, Doctor Who kind of flatlined in America. But this seems to be, obviously, with shooting going on that Kelly and Ryan show, and then with this, it feels like a concerted effort to get the American audience in particular back on board.
Lord, as I might say, going on all those epic adventures around the world. And so we're really pleased to have this show land on Disney Plus with our partners.
Yeah, they do call them partners, to be fair, although that could just be, you know, because they've obviously partnered up to bring it to Disney Plus. But I don't know, I think that is interesting wording.
As you guys can all imagine, you know, we went to go visit the set over the summer, and seeing the level of attention and care.
Wait. So Disney went to visit the set in the summer when they were filming for the 60th? That's really interesting. So that's actually quite interesting because that implies that they've got, you know, they had a vested interest. This isn't something that's you know, just popped up. They've had a vested interest in it for a while. I would assume, and this is purely conjecture on my end, but I would assume they heard about the Russell T Davies you know, what do you call it, takeover again, and they were like, this could be really big. They saw, you know, the outpouring of support and love and sort of potential that this era could have, and seeing Russell's vision, and were like, hey, this could you know, be a big thing. What is this thing about the Ponds reuniting? I went over that earlier in the stream. Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and Arthur Darvill all reunited abroad for Matt Smith's birthday. That's what that was about. We did have Tom Baker at Disneyland somehow. Yeah, no, I do seem to remember a picture of that, yeah. But yes, carrying on with the... I'll see if I can skip through a bit, because I kind of want to see what Sheety has to say, but...
That everyone from the BBC takes with ensuring that this unique and amazing franchise stays fresh and relevant through its storytelling, through its sets, through the worlds that they're building was so heartfelt and heartwarming for me, and I was very excited about that.
So is she the one, I don't know her name, maybe it says it in the description, is she the one that was like in the press article? Our entertainment editor attended, okay, so BBC, in this video, Disney and BBC discussed their joint venture bringing Doctor Who to Disney Plus, while actor Sheety Gatwa talks about stepping to the role.
I have no one to thank but the BBC and our helm leader, Russell T Davies, who is taking this vision to the next level, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, they're really excited in the Russell T Davies.
We're going to chat in a bit at lunch, so before doing so, I want to hand it over to some people to share a few words, starting with Lisa Bowen, our president of...
Oh, so that's the person who was at the... Okay, I'm going to skip forward just to see.
Such an incredible track record of building, not being.
You know, okay, I'll take a look at listen to some of this later, but I know that the big thing I covered in a previous video was that he has seen the inside of his TARDIS. But yeah, so it's just really cool to see the Americans showing such an interest in it, I guess. Let's be honest, it's just a business deal for Disney Plus. It is, but it's good for Doctor Who. It is a very unique show. The thing is, like, it's unique as well in the sense that, like, there is nothing like it, and it's very unique tonally from, like, a lot of the stuff on Disney Plus. Because I mean, at least to me, a lot of the Disney Plus stuff begins to feel somewhat homogenous and somewhat like similar. So the nice thing about Doctor Who being on there is that it'll probably add some variety to that platform for international viewers. But then the final thing I want to talk about today, actually, was this. So friend of the channel actually follows me on Twitter, Thomas Bacon. He did an article talking about how the Timeless Child is now officially dead. Like, it's not obviously going to be continued, because obviously spoilers for the Timeless Child. You know, it's it's not carried on in Power of the Doctor. That's where it ends. And the interesting thing is, there's an article basically talking about it via. I already mentioned the PONDS returning thing. It's to do with they all reunited for Matt Smith's birthday. Anyway, yes. So Doctor Who's Timeless Child is officially dead. The community was rocked by Chris Chibnall's Timeless Child retcon, but the idea is officially dead after Power of the Doctor. The Timeless Child concept is officially dead after the Doctor Who Centenary special. The Power of the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's time as the 13th Doctor, has come to the end, but she isn't the only one to be leaving after the Doctor Who Centenary special. That was also the final episode created under controversial showrunner Chris Chibnall, an old-school Doctor Who fan. Chibnall has been heavily criticised for a dependency on nostalgia and a tendency to place lore above character. The Chibnall era is synonymous with the Timeless Child retcon, which perfectly illustrates the problem. Doctor Who Season 12 revealed that the Doctor is not a Time Lord after all, rather she is the Timeless Child, a billion-year-old being who became the base genetic code for the Time Lord race. There's a strange sense in which the Timeless Child changes everything and nothing all at the same time. It's a major adjustment to the lore, but the episode in which the retcon took place went to great lengths to reassure the viewers that there would be no lasting character impact. Have you ever been limited by who you were before? Joe Martin's fugitive Doctor asked in a Matrix vision, reminding viewers the Doctor transcends her past now, though after the Doctor Who Centenary special, the Timeless Child is officially dead. The Power of the Doctor is the final episode of The Whittaker, as we all know, and as such it features a lot of characters and ideas from the last 3 years. Surprisingly though, it doesn't make any explicit reference to the Timeless Child. I mean, there is one, to be fair. There is that one scene where I believe Sacha Dhawan says, I believe the Time Lords did it to you once, in reference to forced regeneration. And then the Master responds, well, it could be a number of times. Who knows? Not you. We're obviously in a reference to the past lives idea introduced with the Timeless Child. The concept is implicit. The Master is trying to steal Doctor's body, likely to gain Timeless Child's infinite regenerations. That's never implied, actually. That's a good point. They could have easily chucked a line in there talking about how the Master maybe was on his last life, because that's not unusual for the Master, and then basically have it so that the Master was stealing the Doctor's regenerations because they have infinite supply. So that would make sense why the stealing body plotline made sense. Because if his only plan was to besmirch the name of the Doctor, he could have very easily just made his TARDIS look like the Doctor's, cosplayed and gone, I'm the Doctor, look at all this bad stuff I've done, but I digress. And he makes a throwaway reference to the Doctor's forgotten history. Okay, yeah, that is mentioned. But these are subtle details, and they're likely to have slipped past most viewers. To be fair to Chibnall, he seems to have considered the Timeless Child story to be done with. Chibnall's goal was to restore a sense of mystery to the Doctor. As he explained in an interview in Doctor Who magazine, the thing I wanted to dispel was this sense that the Doctor was locked in fixed myth and that the only stuff that counts is what's been on screen so far. I wanted to feel like Doctor Who is much bigger than this. Oddly enough, that means Chibnall likely considers his mission to be accomplished, simply from introduction of the Timeless Child retcon. The last thing he'd want to do is build upon it by providing more concrete answers. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem with that, and here's the issue I take with that. That would be one thing, I guess, but the issue with a lot of the issue with a lot of Chibnall's era is that it relies so much, in flux about teasing this mystery. The whole pocket watch is literally dangled in front of you across Flux. It's one of the only reasons, people kept watching Flux, like, what's in that pocket watch? And we never find out. So when you introduce something with no explicit intention of continuing it, the idea of it being something that isn't continued is quite a bizarre one to me. So yeah, and then why RTD probably won't address the Timeless Child. So yeah, this is another argument I've seen that, Russell might do something with it. Chibnall's left the door open for other writers to tackle the Timeless Child. My argument to that is that I don't really think other writers should have to deal with the Timeless Child, if they shouldn't want to. And I know that it said later on that Chibnall expects Russell to ignore it, but I don't know, just having it left so open-ended feels like it's inconvenient to the incoming showrunner. Like, sort of, there's an interview with Stephen Moffat way back in the day when he was doing Twice Upon a Time, where he was saying that periodically they sort of do house cleaning on Doctor Who, so whenever the next person comes in, it's easier for them to basically have a clean slate, and so, you know, the universe isn't saying, why, you know, the Daleks are here again, oh look, they're quite reliably defeatable. I think that's something he said. But with the Timeless Child, it's this big hanging thread that's just been dumped in the TARDIS for all eternity, and people are going to be wondering, you know, at any point in Russell's era why it's not being brought up, even though it's not really his responsibility to do that. But yeah, so Chibnall expects the Timeless Child twist to be ignored by returning showrunner Russell T Davies. It's one of the few drama series without a written Bible, and every era contains a contradiction or left turn of what was done before. He explained in one interview, any future showrunner will ignore it or run with it. Oh, I fully expect Russell to ignore it. He's probably right. Davies is essentially relaunching the show in 2023, and he won't want to get bogged down with a continuity-heavy idea like the Timeless Child. That's another thing as well. I think the idea of Russell T Davies continuing the Timeless Child is pretty much completely incongruous to his mission statement for the new era being one of change and renewal and basically re-energizing the franchise. I think bogging it down in a lore change that wasn't all too popular to begin with would be an odd choice. If there's one guy I could maybe, you know, see making it work, it would be Russell, but I don't think he's going to want to get himself bogged down in it. This is particularly true given how divisive the Timeless Child has become. Many viewers rejected the Timeless Child outright, while others were willing to reserve judgment until they waited to see what Chibnall intended to do with the idea, which turned out to be nothing. Yeah, that particular group of fans has shrunk as the years have passed, and it became clear Chibnall didn't actually intend to do anything with it at all. And this is the thing, I don't know whether you guys remember, but way back in the day, I talked about Chibnall's final interview, or one of his final interviews anyway, where he said, yeah, the goal of it was to basically open up the continuity, and I don't plan on doing anything with it past, you know, series 13. And I said in that stream, I was quite vocal in saying, what was the point? You know, if you're not going to do anything with it, what was the point? You know. Wait, hang on. Is someone saying that the Doctor Who Unleashed, did that get officially announced? Hold on. Or is people just speculating? Because Doctor Who Unleashed has been speculated for a while. Yeah, no, there's nothing new on that. That's been speculated for a long time. But yeah, so I said back when he said that in Doctor Who magazine, like, what was the point in the Timeless Child if it's just to open up the lore and not do anything else with it afterwards? Because, like, ultimately, you are only as limited to Doctor Who lore as you make yourself, really. And what I mean by that is, Doctor Who's lore is a mess of, like, hard and fast contradictions. So I think just going into something with the expressed idea of just opening up the lore is kind of silly, in the sense that I feel like if you've got a good story that contradicts the lore, just do it. You don't need to make an entire arc to justify lore changes. I just think it's entirely pointless. But anyway, going back to the article itself. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything new on Doctor Who Unleashed currently. This is particularly true, given how divisive the Timeless Child has become. Many viewers rejected the Timeless Child outright, while others were willing to see how it resolved, and then obviously, as it said, that group became smaller. And it became clear Chibnall didn't actually intend to do anything with it at all. Russell T Davies supports the Timeless Child retcon in the vaguest possible way, simply because it means canon and continuity are no longer binding in the slightest. I don't think they were, though. As I said, I don't think they needed to be, you know, I don't think they needed to bind you. If you wanted to tell a story that contradicts something in canon, just do it. You don't need an entire arc. Also, beyond that, I see this a lot. I see a lot of people saying, oh, but Russell, you know, supports the Timeless Child, and he's said that he likes it and stuff. Yeah, of course he did. You know, obviously, I'm not going to say maybe he genuinely does like the Timeless Child. He might well genuinely like the Timeless Child. But equally, if he didn't, he's not going to go publicly when he's about to be the next showrunner and be like, oh, I hated that. it's not going to happen, you know. And he actually did make a joke back when the lockdown things were happening, I believe. TV Zone confirmed it. Oh, hold on, let me have a look. He's not going to go on the show and be like, yeah, I actually really didn't like it. Let me have a look at TV Zone then. Where was this TV Zone article? Because I've heard all of that from ages ago, so. I'm not seeing anything new from them. TV Zone. Am I missing something? Because I'm not seeing it. But yeah, anyway, I'll just finish this article, and then if I find it, we'll have a look. Because normally it would be come up on my Twitter if it had been confirmed. Which yeah, like it hasn't yet. So, but yeah, anyway, so let me just finish covering this article. So, Russell Davis supports the Thomas Show retcon in the vaguest possible way because it builds on the idea that canon and continuity are no longer binding in the slightest, and past stories of the Doctor from any medium can be folded into the narrative. But now the 13th Doctor has shown us galore with infinite possibilities, he wrote in an introduced online prologue to the episode Rose published online. Oh, I remember that. All Doctors exist, all stories are true. That statement, however, does not imply he wants to do anything more with the Timeless Child. That's true. So then, yeah, we've got this idea as well that the Timeless Child story is unfinished because Jo Martin, where does she come in? We have no real clarity on that, and it does feel really odd. And then this idea that Doctor Who can't ignore the Timeless Child. I kind of disagree. I think it can. So, yeah, it's a really weird situation, the Timeless Child, because ultimately, sent to you on Discord. Okay, I'll have a look. It hasn't really meant anything. It's just a newspaper article, apparently. In case you missed it. Okay. That was today. So that's a while ago, right there. Yeah, in case you missed it, implies. I mean, we can read it again if you want. Okay, the Mirror reports. Okay, we can read it again if you want. But I think this is stuff that we've all spoken about before. In case you missed it, as reported by TV Zone in June and followed up by the Mirror in July, the BBC have commissioned Doctor Who Unleashed, a spin-off, which will go behind the scenes on the main show. I reported it before both of them. Just gonna point that out. The series presented by radio presenter Stefan Powell will follow a similar format to Doctor Who Confidential and Doctor Who Extra 2014. The Mirror reports the spin-off will continue to air alongside Series 14 when Ncuti Gatwa takes control of the TARDIS. Though this has not been confirmed, TV Zone understands Doctor Who Unleashed will sit on BBC Three and iPlayer after each episode. Okay, so that, I think that was in the original thing, but yeah, BBC Three. I mean, they've got to use BBC Three for something, because I don't even know what goes on BBC Three anymore. A source told the Mirror, Doctor Who Confidential was hugely popular among fans. Yeah, so we've sort of heard these quotes before, but I'll read them again. A source told the Mirror, Doctor Who Confidential was hugely popular among fans when Christopher Eccleston brought back the show as the Ninth Doctor, continued by during David's tenure in the TARDIS as the 10th Doctor. Russell is aware that Doctor Who fans never get enough content when it comes to the show and how it's made, with David and Catherine making sensational returns to the show. He thought the time was right to bring back the behind-the-scenes show, which will document their comebacks and how the specials was made. So yeah, I could definitely see it happening. You know, as I said, that rumor was circulating before any of them picked up on it. I just want to say that. Do you think they'll put Doctor Who Unleashed on Disney Plus? Interesting question. I'd assume so. Yeah, because like they do for the Disney Plus shows, they have those behind the scenes shows for like I remember there's one for WandaVision. Like making of type shows. So yeah, I think they probably would. I think they probably would. I heard that Marigold turned down doing RTD show Nolly to do Doctor Who. Where did you hear that out of curiosity? That's interesting. because there was actually, now that you mention composers, Blair Mowat, who did the soundtrack for Class, he made an interesting post in reference to the RTD era the other day. Also, there's about 200 of you in here. If you haven't subscribed, we're about 14 subscribers away from 16,600, so any support would be very much appreciated on that. But yes, let me have a look at that. Blair Mowat. Let me... Blair. How do I spell his name? I feel like I've got it wrong. Mowat. I feel like I got it wrong. Is it I? Is it IR? I think it is, yeah. I spelled his name wrong. I said RE. I was wrong. Oh yeah, no, okay. He did confirm this was just him showing his excitement. He's not the new composer. So yeah, he tweeted this a while ago that says, "Here we go again." And it said, he clarified later on, calm down, calm down. This is merely me as a fan of the show, quoting the Brigadier on the excitement for the new era and a new Doctor. So yeah, obviously, it's not looking like he's the composer. Which, if that is the case, yeah, I think Murray Gold coming back for the 60th is a fairly likely prospect at this point. Do you plan on watching the new Capaldi show? Yes. Is it out now? Is it out today? They should just keep making contradictory origin stories for the Doctor, like the Timeless Children and Half-Human thing every few decades. That thing is, that's what I think the Timeless Child will become. It will just become, it'll become a Wikipedia fact. It's I just find that it's slightly pointless in the end, like... Oh, no. The Sagan was confirmed to be leaving alongside Jodie and Chris and all that. That was confirmed a while back. He said that it was his last score that he was doing, so yeah. It's not looking like he's coming back or anything like that. Oh yeah, there was also this resurfaced a while back talking about how Neil Patrick Harris says Ncuti Gatwa will be sexier Doctor. So that implies to me that they do share scenes together, which would make sense because we've seen Ncuti in the trailer. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Ncuti Gatwa also comes into conflict with Neil Patrick Harris's villain character, presumably the Celestial Toymaker. So that's cool. Yeah, a lot of people saying Ncuti will only do 2 seasons. I've seen that speculated. I think he will do 3. At least. I kind of want someone to do 4, but I don't think that'll be Ncuti because he already feels like he's busy as it is. Does the Master count as a regeneration? I believe it was stated that it was reversed. I don't count it. I've seen some people doing it. I do think that the Marigold thing is fairly likely. I don't know what to tell you. I mean... The fact as well of like those legacy characters returning, you'd think that they would return with their themes. At the very least, even if he doesn't come back full time, like just licensing out those themes for those scenes makes sense. And I mean, they used the the 2008 intro music in that little video, which I saw some people get annoyed at, but like, nah, it just makes sense. That was the music for RTD's previous era, and it's probably just a placeholder. So I don't think that's a problem. The canon Doctor numbering is so broken now. Can I be totally honest? I don't really care about the Doctor numbering. I see a lot of people get a bee in their bonnet about like the War Doctor or the David Tennant 14th Doctor, and I'm just like, it doesn't really affect the character. So Disney Plus also doesn't making of Star Wars. Yeah, that's true. Also, there's 190 of you in here. If you could just like the stream if you haven't already, just so we can get to 100 likes, it helps out the algorithm and stuff. That'd be greatly appreciated. I think RTD will pretend Jodie Whittaker happened. Didn't happen? No, I don't think they'll go that far. I think it'll just sort of be... I don't know. I think the new era will just kind of be its own thing, I think. I don't think they'll outright pretend it didn't exist, but I also don't see... I can see this era being relatively detached, When she says in the trailer, what is hell going on here in the trailer, could he be talking about the other Doctors? I would say so. I mean, I would say... I think the whole Tennant thing... Okay, so I saw this theory originally. Atomize, you're just salty because it's looking like Murray Gold's coming back. Also hearing a new composer remix of Dawn of Sleep would be... Yeah, I wouldn't mind that, but it does look like he's coming back. Anyway, On the topic of Ncuti Gatwa saying what the hell's going on here, many have noted that he's actually wearing the 10th Doctor's tie and shirt. So my theory is, and I've seen someone bring this up, but it was a brilliant idea. Back when they were originally devising regeneration, and I could be wrong, but you know, back when they were devising regeneration, they were originally going to do it with the Celestial Toymaker. So the Celestial Toymaker was originally going to change the Doctor's face, you know, mess it about, and that's how regeneration would happen. Obviously, it was changed later on to be in 10th Planet, but that was the original concept, I believe, or at least it was something that was floated about for a while. Because if you know the Celestial Toymaker story, obviously it doesn't really exist these days, but we know that Hartnell wasn't in it too much due to his failing health at the time. So the idea was kind of similar to, oh, what's the story where they cut out Jamie? Is it what story is it? Is it the Mine Robber? I'm not sure what story it is now. The one where Jamie's actor gets replaced because Fraser Hines wanted a holiday. I can't remember. But that episode, basically that, but with Doctor Who, that's how they were originally going to do regeneration. So I'm wondering if they're playing on a similar thing with that, where the Toymaker is fiddling about with the Doctor's regeneration and appearance, which is why the clothes apparate with him in the scene on the cliff top. I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's very intentional, and I think that's to do with the Toymaker. Mind Robbers Part 2 and 3. I knew I was right. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds cool, but for what purpose? I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, he probably have some sort of plan, the Toymaker. We're on about 17 Doctors if you include Richard Hurndall, David Bradley, the Valeyard, Toby Jones, and Jalka. Yeah, I just don't really, what you call it, like, I just don't really mind about the numbering. Because it's, the numbering thing is mainly just for fans, really, isn't it? It's like, just a way for us to keep track. It's not really ever that relevant to the show itself. So for me, it's never something that bothers me particularly. In the Celestial Toymaker, the Doctor turns invisible for the majority of the run by the Toymaker's hand. The original Toymaker was for him to reappear played by a new Doctor. See, yeah, so that's what I think they are playing on. It helps the audience keep track too. Yeah, and it's also good for like branding, merchandise purposes, that sort of thing. But within the canon of the show, you never have 10 and 11 coming together being like, oh, you're the 10th one. It doesn't really happen. You know, it's all kind of inferred. But that's what I think they're doing with the whole Tennant Gatwa thing. I think there's something with they're playing on the Toymaker idea. The plan is to make David Tennant kiss Ncuti Gatwa. Wow. I like the Celestial Toymaker. Looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's going to be the Celestial Toymaker anyway. I'm 99% sure. Think we'll get a Nightmare Fair reference maybe if the Toymaker, maybe something about about Blackpool. I nearly said Liverpool because of Flux. Maybe. I did think. Do you remember that filming a while back where they were filming and Neil Patrick Harris was dancing about? I would love it if the Doctor, if Neil Patrick Harris was mockingly singing "Doctor in Distress," which might sound silly now, but I feel like that could sound quite sinister if done right. Like Doctor in Distress, let's all answer his SOS. It's the sort of campy stuff I could absolutely imagine RTD doing for an anniversary. Given that we also probably have Beep the Meat returning as well, that doesn't feel that out of place. I need the Doctor in Distress scene so bad. It would work so well. Which is honestly the reason I believe Ncuti is probably 14 and has been made to appear like 10. I do think that's a possibility. All I'm saying is, a lot of people are annoyed that Tennant is 14. All I'm going to say is, obviously I don't know for definite, this is just my own speculation. Whilst that is the official line, I do think there's more to it. I genuinely do. I don't think it's just going to be, he's the next one along. There's going to be a reason. How far in the future do you think we'll see, do you think the 60th is set? I mean, relative present day, probably around 2022. I think it's probably around the present day because how old is Donna meant to be canonically when she's on the TARDIS? I mean, to be fair, the timelines don't quite add up, I don't think, because the Doctor left, the Donna left the Doctor, what, 12 years ago? Ish? And Yasmin Finney's character is 18, so maybe there is some time shenanigery going on, because we've seen as well in the set filming, all of the billboards and stuff have different, you know, dates on them and things. What's happening? Just joined the stream. A few things. It'd probably be best at this stage, because we're now an hour in, to just go back to the start if you want to, or just go back to, yeah, whenever, because there's so many things we've already covered. Numbers make no sense, so best not to worry about it. Yeah, exactly. The numbers on Doctors don't really make any sense, so I tend to just not. Yeah, there's going to be a twist, but they have to act like there isn't. Yeah, exactly. So they get the, and they also get the publicity of David Tennant being back as the Doctor as well. Like, it makes sense. All I'm saying is I think people are, again, it's that sort of thing of people judging something too quickly before we've seen how it's going to play out. So many Jodie fans attacking Twitter and Twitter. So many Jodie fans attacking Tennant and LTD on Twitter. It's just sad. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, I'm all for, you know, being sad for an era you like ending, but some of the stuff has just been a bit petty, I think. Like the whole sort of stuff of what you call it, like being like, oh, it's too soon to promote stuff. The costume and logo, I don't know, the costume and companions for Jodie's era was announced before Capaldi was even out the door. So I don't really agree with that notion. I get being sad about it, but it's not. I think some of these fans were expecting like a national period of mourning, and it's like that's not really how it works. To be fair, I think for a lot of people it was their first regeneration. That's why I kind of get it. Forced regeneration could be the reason for 10 to 14. I don't really think that because as we know, the Centenary was kind of tying in. The Centenary kind of was written before the 60th was even a thing. So I think I can't see it tying in that heavily, if I'm honest. Do you think we'll get a bigger trailer later this year or next year? I mean, next year definitely. I don't know about this year. I mean, there is Doctor Who Day coming up, so maybe they'll do something for that. I'm a Jodie fan, always will be. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. If you are a Jodie fan, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there are just some people who are being quite mean on Twitter about Tennant and stuff. I don't think you're one of them though. I think we should respect RTD's decision in calling Shoot You 15 and move on because people are telling him what to do. Yeah, some people are acting like they know the story more than RTD does. It's like, he's clearly got his reasons. Let's just give it time, you know? It's one of the reasons I kind of wish that we had an episode earlier than next year, because I think a lot of people's concerns about this concept would be quelled if the episodes were coming sooner. You know what I mean? Like, but it is what it is. I think it's less the fan base and more the nature of Twitter being a wild place. That's fair. Oh yes, let's let the momentum of casuals saying holy shit. It's Tennant coming back and then die and not do anything because some fans are a bit sad. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And also, you know, in terms of like respect for Jodie finished filming like over a year ago. There's just not really any sense in it, like at all. Beep has no relationship with Disney. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I got blocked by someone who watched Tennant's regeneration and said, ooh, now it's ruined. Yeah, I've seen some people say that. I don't really get it. But, you know, people are allowed their opinion, I guess. Did he call Shooty 15? Yes. Shooty Gatwa's Instagram bio has been like updated to say 15, and they call Shooty 15 in the press release, and they call Tennant 14 in multiple of the press releases. So yeah, that is what they're calling them. Just want Matt Smith back? Yeah, I do too. I kind of have my hopes, but I kind of want to have hope, but equally I'm not trying to get my hopes up too high because I realize the possibility of them coming back is kind of lower. William Hartnell is the strongest Avenger confirmed. I'm clinging to hope because of the tie theory. It's a good theory, but it's probably not enough evidence on its own. I mean, Zydline Leaper, yeah, officially he is, but I do think there'll be more reasoning behind it than just he's the next one along. I do think we have to wait and see on that. At least Matt Smith has have a chance. I want Capaldi to go back to I'm delusional. Yeah, I'm not. I said before when we were looking at his clip earlier in the stream, I just don't see it. I want him to be, I just don't really see it, you know? I just want Moffat to rep in the 60th, doesn't even need to be a doctor. Yeah. Stephen Moffat should work with Russell. I could see him writing a one-off in years to come. What if he's bluffing? Capaldi just doesn't seem to be bluffing though. Like when he says it, like when people are doing an Andrew Garfield, you know, as it's kind of colloquially being termed, it's kind of playful in a way. Like I think it's more likely that Matt Smith doing a what you call it, a Andrew Garfield with the whole "I'm too old now" thing, because that's a bogus reason, because like he still looks the same, but beyond that, with Capaldi, his reasoning hasn't really changed since he left. I don't think he is. He is an excellent doctor, but I just don't think he's bluffing. I think sometimes we have to accept that some actors just don't want to do it again, and that's fine, you know? Yeah, I see Capaldi as in a similar camp to Eccleston. Maybe slightly less unreachable than Eccleston, but I still see them as in a similar camp, personally. But yeah, the Doctor Who Unleashed stuff I don't think was new. I think it was just them reposting it. Be cool if that got officially confirmed at some point soon, though. That would be cool. Didn't they call Shooty Gat with the next Doctor? Yeah, I think it's where I think he's the next Doctor in terms of the one that you'll be following long term, but I guess in terms of numbering, they're making it clear that Tennant is the next one along. He's the next main Doctor. You know, Tennant is basically a side thing. Matt and Jodie will return as Guardians of the Edge series. I mean, again, I'm not convinced that the 60th will tie in that heavily to the Centenary. I think a lot of people are seeing the correlation of a past space coming back at the end with David and going, well, we've seen the Guardians of the Edge, maybe they'll be in the 60th. The Centenary, as far as I know, was written before Chibnall had any idea what was happening with the show going forward. So, I mean, I know that Russell did see the Centenary before it came out, to be fair. But I just don't know whether I see it tying in that heavily, to be honest. I mean, they also called Dave Morrissey the next Doctor. That's true, but this doesn't really feel like a troll because he has been officially cast, so slightly different circumstances, admittedly. But yeah, it's a really interesting time, and you know, in a few days I'm sure we'll have some more stuff. Like obviously, we'll have the viewing figures. They'll be out at some point soon. Oh yeah, I know. Does the toy maker have illusion powers? I think maybe he does, but I mean, even if they don't, they always kind of slightly adapt classic Who villains. I definitely think you could make it so that he can create these vast, you know, spaces, even if he couldn't in the original story. Is Doctor Who coming to Disney Plus in the UK? No, in the UK it remains on the BBC and iPlayer, but everywhere else in the world, Disney Plus. Yeah, I just said that, full beams. Honestly, I'm more interested in what's happening post 60th. Yeah, that's a sentiment that I've seen a few times. Honestly, I'm kind of just hyped for all of it, to be honest. I'm looking forward to seeing what Shooty does. I'm also looking forward to seeing the Tennant stuff. I'm looking forward to all of it. The Toymaker has reality-altering powers. Illusions are like a step down for him. Yeah, there we are. So yeah, that makes total sense because we've seen in the filming, you know, and in the trailers as well, like chaos erupting around him, and stuff like that. So that to me implies that he has some control over that domain. She will be a fantastic Doctor. I agree. I really liked that video of him where he was like, he wanted to see the Beast from series 2. I thought that was really cool. I'm looking forward to one last appearance of the late Bernard Cribbins as well from Mark. Yeah, to be honest, I was surprised that they didn't do a little tribute, you know, like a little in memory of Bernard Cribbins thing at the end, especially with all the old companions coming back. But maybe they are saving that for the 60th, to be fair, so... Tributes probably to come. I'd imagine so, yeah. What do you think the date is for the Doctor Who 60th? I mean, we know that the three, as far as we've been told, the 3 specials air at some point in November. So we can kind of infer from that one of them is going to be November 23rd, because that's the anniversary date. The other 2, no idea. We also know that the Shooties era will start with the festive special. I believe that was said in the official press release. So we at least know about 4 episodes coming next year, so that's exciting. He's going to be the 60th. Of course, they would say the tribute for that. Yeah, I guess so. Mel was in the Centenary. It makes more sense. It makes it more credible that it was either her who had it referenced in the 60th filming video. That's a good point. Although, why would he be talking about Mel to Donna, who would have no reference, no frame of reference for who he was referring to? It would be good if the Christmas special returned. I mean, they did say festive special for Shooty in the press release, so yeah. I think that probably means Christmas, to be fair. I could definitely see him bringing Christmas specials back. November 23rd, 2023 is the Thursday. It is, but I'm pretty sure, when was it in 2013? I don't think it landed on a weekend then, did it? But that's when they put the anniversaries on the date. Unless it's like 3 Doctors, which didn't air on the anniversary, I think. I'm not sure about 5 Doctors, actually. Could David be uncomfortable at wearing women's clothes? I don't think it's anything like that. You know what I think it is? I think there's 2 things. I think narratively, for the reasons I outlined before, I think the Toymaker will be doing something to Tennant or the Doctor in general, and that's why the clothes change. But I also think, in production circumstance-wise, I think that obviously those 2 scenes were filmed separately by 2 separate teams, so that's why you don't have 13's costume, because they probably just didn't have one to hand. But I think there'll also be a narrative reason for it as well. Are you worried about Disney's input the show in terms of creative decisions? Obviously, we don't know whether that's true or not, but even if the Telegraph article is true, which obviously is pretty up in the air right now, it's they still said that, like, Russell T Davies retains full creative control, so even if that does turn out to be true, I don't think that Disney will. And that's another thing as well. I've seen a lot of people saying that Disney will stifle his representation. It is still a BBC show at the end of the day. All this would mean is, you know, a bit more money, and maybe they'd, like, you know, make sure it, like, looked nice. In terms of the whole representation thing, I'm pretty sure It's a Sin is on Disney Plus, and you know, that is way more openly queer content than anything Doctor Who's been doing in the last few years. So I don't, and Yasmin Finney as well. Like, even we know Yasmin Finney, so I don't think they're gonna, you know, they're gonna, like, reduce the representation or anything. It's just that, yeah, the deal to bring it to Disney Plus will probably increase the budget significantly. I also think they probably will put a bit more money forward just to make sure that it looks in line with their current shows. I could totally see them doing that. I worry about when RTD leaves, as he's very good, but it's going to be hard to follow after him. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think we've got him for the long haul. I could see him becoming, even if he doesn't stay a showrunner, like a sort of, like a sort of Kevin Feige type. But if not, I could see also them doing a Stephen Moffat type deal where, you know, like a sort of successor is slowly sort of trained in a way. You know, there's like if there's like a writer, because that's the thing, there'll probably be new writers for the new era as well. So you gotta think like you gotta give the we'll probably see a bunch of new faces. We've already seen a bunch of new directors as well. Tom Kingsley and Chanya Button, both new directors, I think, to Doctor Who at least. So I assume it'll be the same for writers. RTD, the modern JNT. What you mean in terms of if I said that he was like Kevin Feige? I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what he would maybe be if they did it like that. But I mean, I think RTD would be much more warmly received than JNT was, particularly towards the end. But how will Doctor Who succeed after RTD? I mean, Moffat era was still hugely successful. Maybe not as much, but early Moffat was really successful. It can be successful without RTD. RTD is just like the safest and like most what do you call it? I guess popular pair of hands would be the word. I guess, but yeah, you can still work without him. Sora meets the Doctor. Yeah, yeah. To be fair though, I don't think Disney. Obviously, I know that Kingdom Hearts has a lot of their characters, but I don't think they have much like stake in it, do they? Because I know Sora was in Smash Bros, which I feel like they wouldn't allow for a straight up Disney character. Is Amy and Roy back then? No, they reunited. I don't know why. Okay, maybe I should put the Ponds reunite in terms of like maybe Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill reunite, but I just think that would have been a. Oh, someone beeped outside my thingy, my room. Um. Some. Yes, I meant in terms of being an ongoing presence. Yeah. Wait, why is that just random laughing? Is it because of the horn? Why not have Mark Gatiss, back as a writer or a showrunner? I don't know whether I could see him as the showrunner, to be fair. Oh, I see the joke. Okay, it took me a second. All right, yeah. No, yeah, I could see there being someone selected, out of a new crop of writers. I hope Clara is not in the 60th. Honestly, I doubt it, to be fair. Although Jenna Coleman did make a joke towards Stephen Moffat, who was at the premiere with Peter Capaldi, but yeah, she seems to be in different things now, so I doubt it. 'Cause she was in The Sandman, wasn't it? Neil Gaiman's show. Would you rule out what's a CIN special called Reborn Again? As in what do you mean by CIN? That's another good point. I've seen a lot of people speculating, will they go back to calling it Series 1 for this new era? I don't think they do that. The perfect compromise for me, Children in Need. Oh, thank you. Possibly, that'd be nice. That'd be nice if they did something for Children in Need, but I mean, to be fair, Russell did do a lot of the stuff for Children in Need, so possibly. But yeah, in terms of what do you call it? What was I talking about? Yeah, the series thing. What I think they should do going forward, instead of like reverting it back to Series 1, which would just annoy and confuse people, just call them by like series names from now on. So like Flux. Who was the guy that wrote Amy's Choice? He was a good writer. I'm not sure of his name now, which is bad because it's one of my favourite stories. Being Ret Doctor Who Proms, yeah, that'd be cool. Is more Torchwood too much to ask for? Torchwood's a bit awkward now, isn't it? Because of the whole, Barrowman situation. Although maybe you could have it so that like Martha Jones led Torchwood or something. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Can I be honest? I don't really know why people want a unit spin-off. I guess it's just the closest equivalent to Torchwood, but like, I don't know, that feels kind of boring. Like, I don't know, Unit have never been that interesting to me as an organization, so an idea of a spin-off following exclusively them sounds like less fun. I think part of the reason Torchwood is fun, as I've sort of been going through it, is like, Torchwood is kind of a ragtag team that's like, not got much budget, and like, Unit wouldn't really have that charm, so I don't know. Unit spin-off would be generic as shit. Yeah, I don't really get it. Translator spin-off would be great. Like a Tales of Translator televised spin-off would be great because you wouldn't even need to explain why Matt Smith aged. It'd be great. That'd just be how he is. Imagine we get the McDonald's X Doctor Who meal. That's probably not going to happen, but I would love it if it did. Translator book was fun. I haven't read it properly, but I do love the idea. Simon Nye wrote AB Short. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he come back. Does someone Atomize, do me a favor? You're a mod. You can summarize what happened in the stream for anyone who's just joining. RTD will probably write in any way where the Thomas Child or Whitaker wasn't mentioned again. I mean, I could see them getting an offhanded like wink wink nudge nudge thing, but yeah, Unit spin-off might work after Power. Now that we know that they've enlisted classic companions, just seeing more of their lives, possibly. I mean, we know that that Unit is going to feature in the 60th because we've seen them in filming, so maybe. Although I can't say a Unit spin-off is at the top of my list. A proper Ace spin-off would definitely be on my list because she's been introduced now. Although I did find it weird in Power of the Doctor they don't mention a charitable Earth, like it doesn't get a mention. I found that interesting. You'd think it would, but it didn't, which I find particularly interesting. I don't know what that voice was, but yeah, we're in wild times. We're uncharted times. Do you think a Master spin-off would work? I was actually thinking whilst I was watching Power of the Doctor, I would watch a series that was just the Master going around the universe causing various shenanigans. I would watch that. I would watch that. I would like the Doctor to meet Nikola Tesla. They already did that in Nikola Tesla Night of Terror. Later covers, you can rewind the stream. Yeah, that's a good point. This stream will be up once the stream finishes. Sorry, I was slinging my nose. Oh. Just like some sort of like insect, I think, was just bothering my face. I hope on Disney Plus they won't label Duty Series as the first one. That's a good point. Although they probably will on Disney Plus because like they're not going to have the other series, so it'd be weird to call it Series 14 with none of the other 13 series on there. So they probably will on Disney Plus. I would like the tone of the new era to be more mature than his first era. I think it probably will. I think they probably will. Like, he said it's got to try and reflect 2022, and, 2022 and the noughties were two very different time periods. Obviously, it'll still have some of the camp stuff. Wait, no, Shooty's costume wasn't revealed at Comic-Con. Tennant's costume was showed off at Comic-Con. Ponds get back together. No, okay, yeah, no, okay, you've made up things, Atomize. That's not... That will be immediately junked. RTD has announced he's continuing the Top Shot line. Basically, take all that information and reverse it. Is this new going to be called Disney Who? I mean, again, it's still a BBC-owned show, interestingly, when I brought up the Comic-Con stuff, the BBC logo is still very proudly displayed on all of the branding, etc. So I don't think we have to worry too much about the mouse. They're just gonna help us out. They're just putting it on Disney. We'll probably get a bit more money, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, look, BBC Studios is still very prominently featured here. I was kind of surprised not to see Bad Wolf, but I guess it's still under the BBC, just made by Bad Wolf. So yeah, but I just love seeing that logo out in public already. Oop, I just knocked my microphone. Also, fun fact. I got into the latest Radio Times article, kinda. They made a article. Let me find it. Or my tweet about it at the very least. I've retweeted a lot of the tweets I was going to talk about on stream. Where is it? This one. So yeah, they made a article asking fans what their opinion on the new logo was. And I said, the best logo the show's ever had, representing the past and the future, feeling timeless and classic, just like the show itself, something I genuinely believe. And then they put me in saying one fan also tweeted that the logo was the best the show's ever had, representing the past and the future, feeling timeless and classic, just like the show itself. So it's nice to be included, but in the words of Walter White, say my name. No, it's fine that they didn't. Although I would, if you can actually actively campaign at Radio Times to get my name included. Do you think this might endanger the Blu-ray releases in America due to it being on Disney Plus potentially exclusively? I don't think it will, because I think they're different. The different what do you call it? Formats, I guess. I'm not sure how that will work. It will be interesting to see if they use that money to finance more of the missing episode animations. Sarah should be known as one fan. Darius, what are your thoughts on an American actor playing the Doctor? If they were to do it, I'd say have it be that they have like somewhat of an accent, because let's be fair, you know, as much as Britain does have its fair share of like characters, so much of like Western media is dominated by American characters. Your Marvel characters, you know, they're all American normally. Obviously, most of the DC ones take place in a fictional America. Star Wars, a lot of them have American accents, so I think it would be kind of a shame to rob, like, you know, the sort of the cultural zeitgeist of one of the big British characters. But equally, I guess if they did an accent, I wouldn't mind. I don't really mind if they did cast an American, but like, yeah, I can understand why it would kind of be a knock to the idea of like the show's identity and like culture, I guess. There was also someone on Twitter the other day that said that, like, I think the Doctor should be played by a 16-year-old. I'm like, no, I don't want the Doctor to be younger than me. The Doctor, the absolute lowest I would say the Doctor should be played by in terms of age is like sort of mid-20s, like 25, 26. I think Matt Smith was 26, and I wouldn't go much lower than that, because otherwise, you know, it gets close to my age for the Doctor. That feels wrong. Let Pixar make the amazing episodes. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the quality? We wouldn't get that, but I think you'll still get your physical media, because all that Disney have are the streaming rights. And to be fair, the physical media is probably too profitable for the BBC for them to ever want to give up anyway. If they cast an American, they have to do a really shit stereotypical British accent. Right, hello, it's me, the Doctor. Nice to meet you. It's me, Doctor. You want a cup of tea? That's what they got to do. Big Finish animated, that would be cool. They won't get rid of physical media because, as I said, the BBC is too profitable. Dick Van Dyke is 16, yes. Mary Poppins. I'm the Doctor. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, that's what they should do. No, get Chris Pratt to voice the Doctor in an animated cartoon. There you go. Gallifrey, here we come. What was that? I still don't get that Mario voice, man. Still not quite over it. Patrick Stewart is 16. That would be the exception. I would watch that. Does this mean a big name for 16? Maybe? Although I feel like I wouldn't want the Doctor themselves to be too much of a big name, to be honest. I'd prefer it if they did bigger name actors for, like, you know, villain roles, I guess. I don't like it when the Doctor's too ubiquitous, because I feel like it's harder to see them as the Doctor then. If they aren't making any more physical media, then Disney has paid them countries worth. Exactly. It's just too profitable to the BBC to give that up. That you'll still get DVDs. And I mean, look, we even had that leaked, you know, set of logos. You know, obviously we've got the main one, and then we've also got the side ones. The side ones seem tailor-made to go on DVD spine, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Has the Doctor ever had Australian companions? Yeah, Tegan Joanka. She was Australian. She was in the latest episode. And obviously with the 5th Doctor. If Disney makes RTD, what if Disney makes RTD called Shoot Your Doctor instead of the Doctor? As I said, I don't think they have really any creative input beyond just the distribution rights, as far as we can tell. Well, Classic Doctor Who be on Disney Plus because I can see Classic Doctor Who coming to Disney Plus. It's still on BritBox currently, and I think it's being merged with ITVX, so I'm not sure whether it will. Maybe when it expires, possibly, but right now I can't see it. I also just think that Classic Doctor Who would look a bit weird on Disney Plus. I don't know, like it kind of fits on BritBox because that's all for like legacy British content. The idea of it going on Disney Plus just feels wrong to me somehow. I wonder where the Telegraph got their info about them having creative input. Yeah, I'm not sure because they were the only ones to report it. Unless it was just conjecture on their end, which it could be, but at the same time, it seems like a lot of conjecture. But I have heard rumors that it is a form of co-production, but obviously with one side being mostly, you know how like here's a good analogy. If it was a co-production, it would be something like, you know, the Sony Marvel thing where it's like Sony financed them, but like they're all part of like they're Marvel styled and all that sort of stuff. It would be kind of like that, I guess. Like Disney would finance it, but it would still be Doctor Who, you know. Do you know if Disney Plus has done anything like this before? The only big project I've heard of are their own properties. It might be a landmark deal. Ooh, that's a good question. We could have a Google. Because, yeah, most of their stuff is... I think that's another reason why Doctor Who could do really well on Disney Plus, because it is, like... If you're not a big fan of Disney properties, then it's a way of basically getting new content. Yeah, she did have an Australian accent. Gillian Anderson for 14. I mean, a bit late now. We've got two new Doctors for 16. I mean, I think Gillian Anderson would be a great villain, personally. But I wouldn't mind seeing her as a Doctor as well. I'm not really sure what other shows they've bought for streaming rights. I know that they have the Star programs, don't they? They're more mature content that I don't think they own. But it could be a landmark deal. I think, to be fair, no, the Sony Spider-Man movies are going on there, as well as the Sony like Spider-Man cartoons. But then again, I guess they kind of are buddy-buddy with Sony, so it's still not the same level as the Doctor Who deal. So yeah, it could be quite a unique deal. Yeah. Doctor How, yes. We're 6 subscribers away from 16,600, so if you are new and you've been enjoying the content, I missed your comment, did I? I'm sorry. If you post it again, I will have a look. Obviously, you know, I missed some because the chat is so busy, but super chats are your way of, you know, making sure that I see your question. If you really want a question answered, that's your way of doing it. Mr. TARDIS for 16, Darius for the Master. You saying I'm evil? Saying I mean, to be fair, the Master is more fun to play, to be fair, so I don't mind that too much. I mean, more, it's been announced with their brand so close to it. Yeah, that is true. Like, it does almost look like a Disney production, like, with the way how close... Bad Wolf, which is a subsidiary of Sony there. Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, Sony are buddy-buddy with Disney right now, so I'm not really surprised that this deal's gone through. It's a good deal for Disney Plus. They have one of the world's some of the world's famous franchises, Marvel, Star Wars, and more. It will get huge attention the BBC couldn't give it. Exactly. I can imagine the advertising in America being insane. Like, I could imagine them doing a lot with it. 100%. 100%. Do I sound good, by the way? Does my sound good? Because I was rewatching the previous stream and it seemed a bit early. Yeah, we read the Screen Rant article, Paul. And yeah, we did read that. Sony are buddy with every streamer. They just make content and export it. The Boys is made by Sony Television. That's true. And it's one of the best pieces of television in recent years, in my opinion. To be fair, I think what they realize is because like Sony's more into like their tech, aren't they, than films. Obviously, their film division can be quite big, but let's be honest, their own film division is basically just kept alive by Spider-Man. Most of their money comes from other things. Hey Theris, the leak master. Yes. You sound great, Theris. Thank you. I sent you my question again. Do you think we'll see the scene of the master dancing to Ra Ra Rasputin? Was the funniest part of the Doctor? Yeah, probably. I couldn't get that song out of my head for days, and I still can't entirely. But hey, listen. I think I'm going to wrap up. I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. Doctor Who PS5 game would be cool. I would want something open world and a bit more elaborate, personally. But yeah, I'm going to end this stream here. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like if you enjoyed, comment down below, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you later. I'll probably, tomorrow, in terms of future content, if you are interested, it'll probably just be, I am planning on doing that Master video. That's an upcoming one, about the Master, potentially why I would like the Master to retire. Also beyond that, you might see a couple of clips from this stream, depending, if I think they're interesting enough. But yeah, I will see you all in the future. Take care and goodbye.